Hello and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show. I'm Katrina Collier. I speak, train and write about the use of social media for recruitment. I'm of course joined by my gorgeous co-host Audra Knight, who is a recruitment marketing genius, employer branding nerd, or whatever she feels like being called this week. Today we have double trouble on the show. It's very exciting. We're joined by Pete Redloff and Derek Zeller, who are both from Comscore and are both in technical recruitment, even though they've got completely complicated job titles that they can explain. Lovely to have you guys on.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
So guys, can you start us off by giving us a little background of how you came to Comscore and what you're doing there? And let's start with you, Pete.
So I'm currently on my second go around here at my home of Comscore. I was here for a couple of years back in the 05 to 09 range, left here for a few years, came back home and slid right back in. So I manage all the technical recruiting for us, primarily for all the East Coast of the US, everything from our dev team to infrastructure. And I also handle the research team as well.
Nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
And what mischief do you get up to, Derek?
I don't know.
We don't tell people that until their 120th day.
That's true, right? Yeah. I think Pete just hired me for comic effect more than anything. No, I work on the data analytics side, so I work with data analysts. That's what I hire. So people with SQL, Tableau, SAS backgrounds, things like that. Very exciting. I've been in recruiting for, I can't believe I'm going to say 19 years, but it's been 19 years and been primarily IT, but I got to join Comscore and Pete and Jake Ridgway. Great team, Ian Jones, shout out to you as well. It's an amazing company and we're doing big things. I'm pretty excited.
So I used to recruit ClickView bots and they're quite hard to find. Are you finding that with your data people?
Oh, yeah.
It's quite hard to get good people.
There's a lot of people that think they're good, but there's not a lot of good people.
Yes.
Sorry for spitting the coffee out, Katrina. You just got to watch me.
No, it's tea. It's tea, luckily, at this time of the day. You don't
That's true. Is it Earl Grey?
Sorry?
Is it Earl Grey?
Oh, dear.
It's my favorite
No,
tea.
it's some herbal rubbish. It's like orange and lemon. You do not want me on coffee at 3 p.m. Seriously, it's bad. No, not deadly tea, Mark. It's not. So what do you do? What's your creative idea to get around it then if you can't find people? Or how do you work out if they're good or not?
Well, that's the Shakespearean not Shakespeare, but the rub, as Holmes would say. It's a lot of phone calls. It's a lot of conversations, and it's a learning curve for me. I've never really worked data analyst before. I can talk SQL. I'm actually a DBA, so I can do the SQL part. But it's the thinking part. That's the real issue. Like, how do you attack that problem? If it's a black and white issue, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody that comes in from a completely different angle. And you have to sift through a lot of wheat and chaff to get that really good person. The best part about our company and our management group is that they know that and they accept that and they're willing to do 10 interviews to hire one person, and that's pretty special.
Wow.
Yeah, I think for us, it's identifying the skill sets are one thing, and understanding, what did you do and tell me what, but the big question winds up coming around to, especially from the tech side. Okay, I get what you did. Why did you do it that way versus a different way? And if people can explain that gives me a lot more tell about their depth within the project, or were they just running off of a checklist?
Right.
Yeah. And is that where your hiring managers have proved so helpful? Like you were talking about, the reason we've got the topic we've got is obviously Derek's come in and created this great bond with the hiring managers, not hiring manager bondage, as I so wanted to call it.
That would have been so awesome.
It would have been much more fun. But I thought, there's a line, I'm kind of going over the line, maybe I should behave for a change. But is it, because, you said they're willing to interview, 10 people, which is extraordinary, but will they talk to you and help you and, therefore, so you know what questions to ask? Or
yeah, we spend a lot of time up front with the managers. There's no role that gets open without sitting down for us for 20 to 40 minutes to sit down and do this, because we don't work off job descriptions. And while roles may be somewhat similar across time, there's going to be nuances based on the work and what the most important projects are and the skill sets that we need to have come in with that. And what are we facing today? So I think that for us has been the big key for saying, okay, we need to make sure that we understand the role this time around for that. And then the managers are, for the most part, willing to do that. The ones that don't find out the hard way 3 weeks later, and we're like, we can't find what you're looking for because we don't understand it. I think we've made good progress there.
Yeah, I totally agree with Pete. Just because it's data and data analytics, it doesn't mean that there's not nuances within inside of it. It's like saying a Java developer. What are they doing? What do you mean by Java developer? Are they developing software? Are they doing web? Because those are two totally different facets of the same thing, right? So data is the same way. There's financial data, there's healthcare data, which is predominantly SaaS. I know that from my past. But there's also, tagging. There's video. There's online advertising. I mean, there's just so many different facets to it. So different people will think in different ways in those different, communities. So somebody that's really good at analyzing video, for example, may not really be very good at medical.
And I think for us too, with managers, we have a lot of managers that are more at the front end of their career from a management perspective, right? They've been promoted. This is their first time managing. And so there has to be that, that trust of, okay, well, I'm going to go get you what you want, but let me tell you how we can probably work best here. And I think we get a lot of buy-in with that to say, look, it's not me versus you. We're working together. I'm going to probably have to hire for the person that I'm hiring for you today in about a year or two. So it's in my best interest to make sure you've got somebody that's qualified and that I understand what you want.
Yeah. Right. And so, Derek, as you've gone in new, have you got any top tips of how you gained that trust immediately? Other than
nothing's immediate.
Know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Nothing's immediate. You need to prove yourself to a certain point. But I have told many a recruiter over the years, and granted, I've been around for a long time, but we've
5 years.
But no, I look at it this way: I don't work for you. Yeah. I don't work for I don't report to the manager. You're not my boss. We are in a tag team. I look at it as, and I know it's stupid, but I grew up in the years of the WWF wrestling. We're the tag team. We work together to get that job filled and make money. It's a pretty simplistic thought process, but it's true. So I treat them just as equally as I would treat Pete or anybody else. I don't come in and with my hands like this. I'm like, oh, please talk to me kind of thing. I'm like, no, we have a calendar. I got 30 minutes. I'm going to do an intake session with you. Here are the resumes. This is what I think. And you need to start trusting my judgment eventually. Now, this particular position took a little bit longer because, once again, as I said, this is not something I've ever actually recruited for. And I told him that. I'm like, I'm not going to pretend to know something I don't know. So teach me. I'm a sponge. I would go to the meetings. I've sat on interviews to listen to interview questions. I've done, and then the other thing I've done is I've literally sat down with one of my managers and said, hey, let's do a sourcing session, you and me. So you give me the things that you think you need to see on that resume, and then explain to me why you want to talk to that person.
And I think too, we spend a lot of time talking to these guys outside of formal meetings too, right? So there's a lot of times I'll talk to managers, be like, hey, just to give you an update, I don't have any update for you right now, but expect to see some stuff by Monday. That satiates a hiring manager to realize, okay, you haven't forgotten about me. Like I'm not just sitting in a black hole and you're going to get to me when you get to me. And so that piece is important.
So the no update.
They know that somebody has their back.
Yeah, that's cool.
How many open roles do you guys have at a time usually? I'm sure it varies, but on average.
Pete's got more than me.
Yeah, probably anywhere between 12 and 20 at a time.
That doesn't seem unreasonable compared to what some people are dealing with. Like I hear 30s to 50s to 60s to all sorts. I hear at the same conferences.
And of that, I might have 2 research managers. I might have 4 QA. So I'm almost doing recruiting in chunks for that as well. So similar teams, similar skill sets, nuances within the group. So it's it's not 50 completely individually unique recs.
Yeah, we don't really actually, at least in the data analytics side, we're not really even hiring towards we're hiring towards a rec, but we're also hiring for ComScore. So what we say is, somebody can get a master's degree in data analytics. That's fantastic. Congratulations. And I really do honestly heartfelt mean that. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
But they don't teach ComScore in school.
Right.
That's what we're looking for. Do you have the ability to absorb?
Are you answering Mike's question here? What is most important for your company fit or skills?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So when you say they don't teach ComScore, you're talking about the fit of the company. Yeah.
So I had a conversation. This just happened yesterday. I had a conversation with a manager. We interviewed a guy last week, Thursday or Friday last week. Really good fit, great guy. Good culture fit, good fit within the team. And they were like, "Well, we're not 100% sure about how he does test cases or something." And I looked at him and I said, "Is he a good fit for the team?" I said, "Is somebody you can sit next to for 40 to 50 hours a week and teach?" Yeah. I said, "Can you teach that in 3 weeks, that test case scenario?" Yes. Well, great. Then hire the guy and teach him in 3 weeks, because part of being a good manager is training your people.
Exactly. It's like the car trip, isn't it? You sit next to him on a long car trip.
Yeah. If you can survive that, you're good.
Question in from Yup. I still can't say your name, mate. Sorry. Anyone using Scrum Agile with their hiring manager? We might need to expand on that. Or do you understand that question?
I do.
Yeah.
It's more of a software question, I think, right?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. I haven't done it here, but I've also known the vast majority of my hiring managers here for 10 years. So, we have our own, kind of thing that we're doing. But when I was at NPR, we did do that. We did go on kind of 2-week recruiting sprints to get through everything that we were doing. We'd have a daily stand up to see where we are in terms of kind of feedback from yesterday, anything that's changed, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it was actually a really impressive process to do. I think it's probably culturally unique in terms of where you can implement that. And I think you have to have a lot of things fall in line.
That's fair. What are they talking about down the side here?
Something about
what did I miss that has all of these WWF? Now we've got pandas. Now, what are they talking about? What did I miss?
Oh, we have an actual question.
Someone fill me in.
So that's interesting. If you use Slack with your hiring managers, I'm having a hard time with Slack. Do you guys use it in general, and then also with your hiring managers?
We do use it here. I've had conversations with 2 managers in the last month about starting to use that.
And you find it intuitive yourself?
I'm still getting comfortable with it. I'm using it for a couple of other things as well outside of here, and I'm still getting a little bit comfortable with it. But I think there might be some merit there. If they're spending most of their day in there, why wouldn't I want to be where they're going to be spending most of their day, and rather than sending it to their email where they may not be checking, but a couple times every few hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you not feel it's secure when you're sort of sending stuff on it? Is that your concern, or?
No, we collect 2 trillion records of data. I'm pretty sure we're secure.
You know what I mean, though, because it's like this random channel, and who's seeing it and who's not seeing it.
No.
When I initially started using it, I was a bit like, oh. But then I realized, no, it's actually quite locked down.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably curate it to a specific list of people. I'd pilot it with a couple of groups first before I did it on a more broad basis.
We've been using it. The teams have been using it from phone interviews. So our process is we do a phone screen and then we do a face-to-face with a team. But it's a nice notation so that all of the people that would be part of the interview team get to see the notes of the individual that originally talked to them. And it's all kind of housed in one spot as opposed to getting 3,000 emails. It reduces the noise quite considerably, and that's what I really like about Slack.
Yeah, I do as well. I like the way you can tag people and everything.
Yep.
Audra.
I'm just curious, what ATS do you guys use?
iSIMS.
You happy with it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a fanboy.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
They didn't pay you to say that?
No.
So
I rarely get paid for anything good I do.
Damn it. You didn't even get a recruiting daily t-shirt for your show later. There's no jealousy here. I was on last week or week before. Where's my t-shirt? Except I want a girls one. What do you like about iSIMS? Why?
It is not the sexiest, flashiest UI, but if it works, everything is relatively easy to use. We were able to curate the hiring manager's view so that it was very specific to only the things they needed. You have your jobs, you have 2 or 3 choices of how you can proceed forward so you don't get lost in a maze of statuses. The email integration is key. The Outlook to iCIMS integration is key. Reporting took a little bit to get used to. Their vernacular is incredibly specific for reporting, but once you have it, you can report on any field within the system. And that's a key to be able to have to do, even custom fields.
Yeah, and I like the notation. I like the notes factor
down here. What do your hiring managers think about iCIMS? There's a good question from Matt Darren.
It's a hell of a lot better than success factors.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
It was a world of difference for them when we went to this. And again, I think we made it in a way that said, look, we're going to limit, what you have to do in interaction wise while you're in there. Tell us if you like the person, you want to phone interview them, in-person interview them, or you're not interested in why. And we're going to tie it to your single sign-on so you don't have to remember yet another password.
I think the managers really...
That would be huge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, what I like about it from the manager standpoint is they can go in and say, I'm not interested in this candidate, or I am interested in this candidate, and they can actually put in notes as to, yes, why they are or not. And from an OFCCP tracking standpoint, yes, I'm putting on that stupid hat. But for the United States, for all of the things that we have to go through and track, so on and so forth, it makes my life a hell of a lot simpler because I don't have to dismiss the candidate anymore. The manager already has for me.
Yeah, and we have a very specific mantra in recruiting here that not a fit is not feedback.
Yeah,
not feedback. If you want to work on this, then you need to tell me why they're not a fit because I can then adjust in real time.
Yeah.
Somebody asked if we're using the ATS to review the candidates. They are. Yeah, we send everything right through the candidate through the ATS to the managers. So it pops up in their inbox. They can review everything from there, click everything in iCIMS, and it comes right back to us.
Yeah. I feel like hiring managers probably don't like any ATSs, so it's maybe the best or the worst.
Well, again, I think where you can tailor it to make sure that they don't have to quote unquote, learn another system. They're already using 10 different systems internally here for data and analytics and engineering. One more, the easier we can make it, the better the adoption was going to be. And, I've yet to have in a year and a half, I've yet to have one hiring manager come back and say, the system sucks. Why are you using it?
Yeah, I've actually had hiring managers, once they've started using the system, they become addicted to it. They're just so excited by it because it's just like one click and done. They're like, they actually have a little bit, they have an modem of control over the system, and they like that. Yep. Yeah, they like that piece. So it's
they're getting clarity on that.
Resumes, right?
So actually, someone up here, but I don't know if this is irrelevant as well, has asked if you've used JobVite. I've lost it. It's gone.
That's what we use.
Yeah, Mike Townsend. Have you ever used JobVite? Does it sit on top or is it its own ATS?
It's its own ATS.
Right.
Yeah, I use that at Living Social.
Yeah, the ATS.
I thought it just spat jobs. I thought that's what it did.
It does do that as well.
Yeah, it's got a heavy social distribution component.
Is that what you call it? Social distribution, not social spitting?
That's what I was told. I was told to say that.
Where's my T-shirt?
It was good. I think that they've matured as a company since when I used them last. They were okay. They weren't great.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on the size company too. If you have 200 people or 300 people, maybe that your needs are determined by how big your company is and what you need to do within the system.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to use an atom bomb to kill an ant. It's kind of pointless. I mean, Pete and I, between the two of us, have probably seen just about every system out there. And the thing is like $80,000 for a social media platform is fantastic for a very large company. But when you're a smaller, mid-sized company, that's your entire recruiting budget. I mean, get real, people. I mean, you don't even get to use half of the things that they're offering you. I'm not saying that it's a bad product. It's a fantastic product. I just can't afford it right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you want to read the question out, Audra?
Yeah. Sure. How do you handle a hiring manager who's indecisive, either at intake or selection?
Ooh.
So at intake, for me, so a lot of times with managers I haven't worked with before, which doesn't happen too often anymore now, but ones I haven't worked with before, one of the things I'll do is I'll send them, 15, 20 resumes and go, who would you call? Who would you call from this list?
Yeah.
And once I do that, I'm like, okay, you know what you want. Now tell me what it is that you want. Explain to me why it matters for your team right now. And so that's the intake piece, right? The selection piece, there's a couple different ways, like the one I had the other day. I'm like, you can teach this in 3 weeks. Stop jerking around with something you can teach in 3 weeks. But additionally, sometimes you have people that they want to see more people. I'm like, okay, great. Well, what are you not seeing? Well, I don't know. Well, great. Then let's sit down and go back over the stuff we did at intake again, and let's figure it out. And let's realize, what's the cost to you? You have somebody that's 85%. I like it, this 80% hire rule. If you have 80% of everything you're looking for, take a chance on it. You know, most of the country is an at-will employer. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. But take a chance on it. And if you think you can teach it, then great. And if not, then okay, I get that you can't teach somebody to be analytical. You either are or you aren't. But it comes down to, managers saying, look, you have to say sometimes, like, I can't help you if you won't help me. I'm not a magician. I'm not going to be able to read your mind.
One of the first things I ask a manager, especially if it's like more of a lead role, and they have a team, I usually ask them, why aren't we moving somebody up into the lead role and then backfilling with a junior person, which is easier to find and trainable? I mean, that's your whole point, right? You spent a year or two training these people. We must have somebody that can take on that lead role. It seems kind of weird for me to bring in somebody at a mid-management role outside of the office that isn't ComScore. That's what that's our whole thought process is we train how to think ComScore. And we've had a manager that said, I had a manager when I first started that said, that's a hell of an idea. He went back and actually did something similar to that. And we brought somebody in more of a junior role. It's getting them to think a little bit differently themselves. It's kind of like bringing a breath of fresh air from outside sometimes.
Yeah.
And the different,
because they're in their hole, aren't they? They know they're stuck for their day-to-day, whereas your job is recruitment full-time and theirs isn't. So
well,
I guess you're going in with that confidence and that market knowledge. Is that right? So sharing.
The hard part about hiring for engineering teams is that I'm hiring for engineers. I'm hiring for introverts who have to sell their position. And so I have to kind of work with them.
I love the way you came closer to the screen as you said that.
I have to teach them sometimes that part of their job is my job. I hate people sometimes, but part of my job is that you have to also sell this position too. Like, I get that you're awesome, you're brilliant, but this guy on the other side of the table or this gal on the other side of the table has no idea how great you are to work with. You need to sell why they need to come to you versus the other 5 places they're talking to. And that's a hard thing because that's not naturally inherent in a lot of managers that I work with.
So they had training on that? I know that sounds tough, but have they had training to sell themselves? Or
working on that.
Working on it.
Right.
Does
anyone do that? That sounds like a really cool thing, actually.
Or just general interview training with that.
Working on interview training with that as a big piece of it, for that's kind of a bigger overall mission for us. I think at 16 years old, we're probably mature enough of a company to start that now.
Because for the last 16 years, we've been winging it.
Well, we're training in the data side right now. We're training younger managers to be managers. So we're bringing in people that are maybe a technical lead for a group. So we bring them in to do a dual interview. So they sit in with a senior manager who's done a couple hundred interviews, and they've done 10. But you still even have to tell them, listen, you're interviewing an individual who may be 23, 24, 25 years old. This may be their 3rd interview in their entire life.
Yeah.
So they're nervous as hell, and they're not thinking clearly. So you need to bring it down a little bit, have some fun. Make it, show them, some ComScore love. Don't talk about just immediate business. How are you? What's going on with you? What are your interests? Make it a little bit about them as well. And since my
that can be quite hard for that left brain logic, can't it?
It is. And I've had some managers tell me, they're like, when they came in, I'm like, I always, Pete and I both do this. In fact, I think all of us do, is we sit with the candidate for about 10 minutes if they get in here early enough.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of chat with them. I kind of give them an overview of what we're looking for, how to act. I give them some interview tips. Just tell them, don't be nervous. I know it's like telling somebody not be afraid. It's like you're going to be what you're going to be. So I tell them, like, we want you to succeed. I want you to get this. We've gone through a lot of hoops to get here. So let's have some fun. Here's a glass of water. Do you want a Coke? I mean, I make jokes. I'm like, you want a Slurpee? I can run down to the 7-Eleven and get you something.
Yeah.
You know, and it
You
makes
sound like me when I was in house. You get so bought into them and so excited for them. I always wanted them to get it as well because I still have my agency kind of mentality.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that I really want them to get the job. And I would sit like Switzerland in the middle, neutral. But I would always be cheering on either side. But yeah, I love that. So that's really cool. And really, really sweet to hear that somebody's making that effort to spend 10 minutes.
Well, it's a candidate experience, right?
Yeah. And it is, you know, part of that is too, you can't talk to your candidates about what to expect with your managers is if you haven't spent time with those managers. And I mean, you know, I mean going out to a happy hour with that engineering team or whatever the case is, and spending time. And yes, it's awkward because you're the guy from HR and everybody's on their toes when they're at happy hour. And you know, and we like to say like, look, we're not in HR, we're in recruiting. It's
Do they not know you?
Very different.
Yeah.
Well, they do eventually. Don't worry.
I bring along that guy from HR. He's cool.
Right. Yeah, so I think you have to spend that time with them and really understand them and like how many kids do they have and what's their commute to work like, and you know that is the thing that builds trust with them where they go, okay, Pete's got it, or Derek's got it. Let them run. They'll come back and let us know where they are.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice from Mike in the interview. If they are nervous, I've actually tried to help them along to brag about their background. Well, now you need to tell us how you've done that.
Yeah.
How do you get them to brag about their background? Do you guys have any top tips for that? Oh, sorry, Audra.
Well, that's great. I just have a quick question for Derek. Going back a little bit, when you were talking about moving employees up instead of, you know, hiring from the outside, do you find those sometimes those technical people that are star players, moving them up to like a leadership role, they might not be good leaders. Like they're just good at being technical, and that would put them out of their comfort zone. They might be terrible at being a manager. Sometimes. I mean, not always.
Trust me. I fall into that category. I'm actually trying to find my way down the ladder. I'm trying to go down the ladder, not up the ladder. I want to go down. I want to go down so far that I can't see the actual ladder to go up. That's how far down I want to go.
I think like 3 years ago, we kind of flipped our like career progression on the head here. And we carved out 2 tracks for people because I think we realized that not every engineer does a great manager make.
Well, do they want to be a manager?
Yeah, they don't want to be a manager. And so we created an individual contributor track. So you could be a manager, you could be a lead. They're the same level, but they are, one is an individual contributor track, one's a manager track. You still have the same bonus, but you just don't manage people. And when I came back here, that was one of the things that I said. I was like, Jake, I love you, but I don't want your job. Like, I just want to do good work and like, I'll clean up the stuff that you don't want to deal with and be your chief of staff, but I don't want to manage anybody. And we negotiated. I only have one person to manage, but she's super easy. So
she's awesome. That's a huge shout out.
And we're not engineers, and we feel like that.
Right. Right. Well,
so I definitely should not be allowed to manage anybody.
And I think it takes time to figure that out. It took me till I was almost 40 to figure out, like, you idiot, you keep going into these management roles and you hate it every time. Yeah. So you kind of understand your own career. And I think I've had managers that are like, I'm interviewing because I'm a manager and I don't want to be a manager. I'm like, well, why aren't you talking to your VP to say, I want to be more of an individual contributor? It's okay to say, I want to be an individual contributor.
Right.
Yeah.
Kathleen.
Kathleen's like,
people worry if
got her pom-poms out on the side, hasn't she?
I know.
Go
Pete.
It's true.
But it's cool that the salary is similar, because I think on a lot of companies you think, well, I have to keep making money, so I got to move up to be a manager. So I think that's fantastic that you have other opportunities.
You can still mentor and do all of that and just not have that. Yeah.
What we've been doing in our interviews is doing a pre-interview interview. So about a half an hour to 45 minutes before the actual candidate is supposed to show up, we divide the teams, and we have 2 people usually in the room interviewing, and they have a specific reason why they're interviewing the candidate. One team will be technical. It's a 45-minute technical interview. Tell me about SQLs. Tell me how your SQL sets. How many terabytes have you worked with, so on and so forth. Tell me, write a string out, maybe something like that. Then another group will just be about personality. Like, is this person going to be a leader in our company? Do they have a leadership potential? I'm not saying that doesn't mean that we're not going to hire that person, but we're looking to see what track the team decides. And at the end of the day, when the person leaves, myself and the interview team get together and we spend about 20 minutes chatting, and each individual gets to say what they think about that candidate. And they get it. It's like almost like being in a fraternity or sorority or something, or like any kind of club. Everybody gets to have either a white pearl or a black pearl. And just because you get a black pearl and there's 6 white pearls, then we'll probably more than likely we're going to hire them. Yep. But if it comes down to not so much or kind of, then we have to have like that running discussion. Should we see other people? It's really cool, and it's the first time in my history of it being part of a company is that everybody gets their own solid voice, and it's really cool. And we hire well
because I guess you are creating actual genuine diversity that way, aren't you? Because otherwise, if you've got fewer people doing it, you're always hiring people you like. Is that right?
I recruit on the technical side. Diversity is really not an issue for me.
Yeah, this is probably the most diverse culture I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that people hiring like people they like, as opposed to the right people for the role, is what I'm getting at. You sound like you're getting around it. Yeah. I don't mean the diversity in the traditional sense of let's make sure we've got every color and sex and etc. Yeah, no, I was just meaning, I'm probably not making sense.
To answer Kathleen,
To
answer Kathleen's question, who cultivates the responsibility for leadership in the company? I think we've probably over the years identified a couple of people who we know are really, really good at this. And one of the things that we've done for our younger hires, we have an internal group called the Young Professionals Group. And it's a voluntary group. They meet like once a month. They talk about, leadership capabilities. They talk about how to kind of learn from others, how to understand what you're doing, things like that. It's actually, we probably have here in the Virginia office, we probably have, anywhere between 15 and 30 people attend every session for those. And I think that's going to be a nice training and proving ground for future managers for us. Because these are the people that are voluntarily saying, "Hey, I want to do more. I want to do better than what I'm doing today. Even though I'm a year or two out of school, I want to learn." And we're bringing leaders in to spend time with them.
Very cool.
So it doesn't sound like the young'uns you're hiring are a problem. Does that go against this millennial bollocks, Ben? I had to get it in there. We've got to cover millennial every time because I friggin' hate the word.
I probably a year or two ago, I probably would have agreed with you cold. But I looked back on it and did some real kind of soul searching on this and realized that I was the same way. I was like, shit, it's been a year. I haven't been promoted already. What the hell's going on? And realized,
oh my God. And you're a fellow Gen X.
Right. And okay, well, maybe I did the same thing when I was 24, 25 and wanted to rule the world. And then by the time I hit 40, I just lost my ambition to rule the world. I just wanted to be a good human.
Kathleen's got another good question.
It's for least bollocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I think if...
Oh, hang on, what's the question? Average, right, how long do your folks stay with you? Attrition, do you have ways to keep them engaged? Sorry.
I mean, I think we probably have an average tenure here of 2 to 3 years, I think is fair, especially with the people coming right out of school. But that's what I would expect for somebody coming out of school. You spend 2-3 years at your first job, whether it's here or Accenture or Deloitte, and then you move on to see what you have. Now, that said, we have an incredibly high boomerang rate here. I'm one of them.
Right.
People leave, they come back a couple of years later as well. So it is a good sign that, maybe you test to see if the grass is greener. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Yeah, I like the
It's no different to my generation.
Right.
2 to 3 years. That's really normal. I don't know why we're putting so much pressure on. What's Aaron written here as a millennial? I currently have no desire to be promoted. Just leave me alone and let me do my job.
Yeah, I love that, by the way.
Boomerang boomers. Oh, my God. It's enough. I just love the way you use this wonderful Australian term for people that come back again. Just cracks me up.
I like to consider myself a Generation D, so I don't know what that means. I think it's kind of pointless that we let the media kind of put words in our mouth all the time.
Yeah.
We have to look at it this way. I mean, what we do on the data side is about a 70-30. 70% analytics, 30% production, but that 30% is what pays the bills. I mean, you're going to come here, you're going to get some great education, and the baby bird's going to leave the nest, and it's okay. It's all right. Irma Bombeck said it best. The grass is always greener on the other side of the septic tank. So you're going to go out to Menlo Park in California. You're going to make $150,000 a year, and you're going to still be in debt because you're spending $10,000 a month on rent. Yeah. Right? So it's, I've seen it, and Pete's right. I mean, the boomerang effect is massive because they get out there and they realize the real world really isn't a pretty place. And from a recruiting standpoint, this is what I was taught years ago in my agency days. when they leave a company, call them 6 months after they leave and tell them you're calling them. Say, I'm going to call you at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night, and at 5:59 you're dialing. So when they pick up the phone, they're immediately impressed that you actually did what you said you were going to do with expected result. And then I ask the same question every time. Was it everything they told you it was going to be? Is it all chocolate and roses over there? You know what? A lot of times it's not. And I've actually, with permission from my management, I haven't really done it here yet. I haven't been here long enough. But with permission, I actually say, I'm going to give you 48 hours. I want you to come back. I want you to come back. Same salary, same vacation. We'll put you right back in the 401k. We want you back. We love you. I'm here with open arms. You know, I'm a hugger. You know, I love to hug.
You are such a good hugger. He's a good hugger. Pete, you're a great hugger too, just in case you're offended by my comment.
No, not at all.
Not either. To be fair, I just hung up with you.
I think one of the things
both equally. I
can't believe I've just been there and missed you all and had no hugs.
It's Pete that I love the most, though.
Stop it. I think for us,
I like Pete for those naughty things he gives me when I'm over there and I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Anyway, whatever. Moving on.
You know, I think one of the things with managers that we've had to do too is we've had to kind of educate them on the new generation. I think there's this misconception, and we've all had the millennial talk, right? So we don't need to rehash that. But I think there's this misconception that like, oh, they don't stay anywhere. And I'm like, well, okay, well, maybe you're looking at the dates. Like, let me walk you through. The reason I spend 30 minutes on the phone with these candidates is so that I can explain why they had a 4-month stint, a 6-month stint, a 10-month stint. They were all contract, and now they want to be a full-time employee. And you know, it's that context that goes along with it. You know, how many times does a manager just get a resume from a recruiter? There's no context, no notes behind it, you know, what they're looking for in the next role. Like, you know, there's no context there, and that's not how you have to sell it. We have to sell it to a manager. We have to get the manager to go, good sell. I like this person. Bring them in, you know?
Yeah. Because there's always a valid reason that people have short stints. You know, I mean, I'd had 10 years at my previous company, came to the UK, and it took me 3 goes within 6 months to find a company I wanted to work for. It's just how it went. So it did look really crap on my CV as well. So I think it's good that you're remembering to sell them as well. You are sitting in the middle like Switzerland, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's part of everything.
So that doesn't put you off at all when you see a resume with like tons of short.
Well,
doesn't it at all?
The initial is kind of like, but if the rest of the resume is good, like, let me find out. Like, I saw one of those yesterday, and this woman, 3-day, Monday, Tuesday, this woman had like 3 6-month stints in a row. And I'm like, all right, it's probably contract work, but let me ask. And she's like, yeah, I had a contract. That one got cut by the federal government. I had 2 other contracts. I left the last one short term so that I can go to a full-time role, but it's also a 60-mile commute from my house. I'm like, oh, so you spend 5 hours on the day commuting. You know, so I get that. I understand it. It makes perfect sense. But we don't get an answer to anything that we don't ask.
Well, the other thing, too, is the DC market is a little odd compared to the rest of the world, probably.
Why is that?
Because I'd hazard to say that 80% of the positions in this town are government related. And being a government contractor, you work on contract. You're a full-time employee, but you go out, you form an RFP, a request for proposal, you win that proposal, but that proposal is only for a 1 year's work or 2 years of work with maybe a third option year. At the end of that contract, they're looking to either keep you on or the contract goes away. And way too many times in this town, people will come in like, I'm looking for a job. They jump on a contract, and 6 to 8 months later, that company loses that contract, and well, bye. I mean, it's literally like tissue paper here, and employees are treated like such. It's one of the main reasons why I came to ComScore and got out of government contracting after all these years, is because I wanted more stability, and that's what a lot of people want. And there's other people that just want that 6-month contract, especially software developers. They want to go on, they build something, they don't want to maintain it. They want to go build something new. They want to go learn something new. You know, I mean, that's what they want to do. They don't really care about it. That's their mindset. That's kind of sometimes the person you really want, but you're only going to get him for 6 months.
And to Mike's point here, you know, hiring managers have a tendency to discriminate, you know, on short stints. Well, of course, when they have no context behind that and you haven't given them any information or notes, and I send a full write-up of notes to the hiring managers, and failure to read those notes on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. But I'm spending 30 minutes to give you notes that will help you understand all the context behind what this candidate's looking for and why I think they're a good fit, etc.
Now, do you always do that in writing or sometimes on the phone?
No, it's always in writing, because then they can't tell me I never told them.
I love this from Cameron from Firefish. I think millennials are just other humans. We all want to be treated well. People will stay somewhere for a good length of time if they're treated well. If you aren't treated well, people aren't afraid to move on.
Look,
and I don't think it's a gen thing. It's a society thing. Actually, I think it's a technology thing. You can go to Google and see how many other jobs are there, and you're off.
Yeah,
we've now got visibility. We don't have to stay. There's no fear anymore.
Anybody here who didn't know somebody of their age bracket that wasn't a spoiled brat when they grew up, please let me know. Everybody knew that.
I was a right bitch.
You know what? We just have a lot more mediums to bitch about it now than we did in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more public.
We bitched.
Yeah,
I'm still a brat, actually. So.
Erin Stevens saying she was never a brat. Yeah, right. Watch your Snapchat for 1 minute.
I like
the best kid ever, I swear. Oh, you're making up for it now then if you're a great kid then. But I think
there you go.
Not only from being able to see candidate experience, employer branding, but it's also being able to see the other jobs. I think that's the huge difference though. Being able to see those jobs.
Even if you don't want to, nowadays they're just in your face.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go out. Like you'll just be on Facebook and they're in your
yeah, they're there or LinkedIn or etc. I promise. I don't believe Erin. Bless her. Sorry, Erin. Are there any more questions from these guys? They've been really chatty with you, haven't they?
No, I agree with Erin right there. I grew up and became a brat. I really did.
Yeah. She's actually a recruiter bitch, which is even funnier.
Awesome.
If you follow her on Snapchat, Derek, because if you don't, I highly recommend.
I haven't.
Are you guys on Snapchat?
I think I have it on.
Yeah, Peters.
I don't know.
I've just snapped you guys. You're out there.
I have it on my phone.
I'm looking.
Yeah, if you don't use it.
I'm working on it.
It's weirdly
I'm
addictive.
tinkering with it at night because I think it's an important piece, and I think, branding being what it is, I think it's going to be a kind of an important piece for a branding perspective going forward. But I think to force fit it into every company is kind of hard as well.
No, it's only got to be if that's where your audience is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the storytelling part though is really addictive and fun.
Well, and that's part of what we want managers to do too. Like, okay, you guys are doing, I was joking with somebody last night, like we're not curing cancer here. We're not solving illiteracy, but what we do here affects billions of dollars that get spent on ad dollars every month. So hiring manager, tell your goddamn story. Tell why it is cool what you're doing and explain the aha moments that you have with this to this person who can then go, okay, well, that technology is not so great, but I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to work on something that no other company is doing. Yeah, I'll take this job. I'll take this job. So, and I think we part of that is we can get them, the hiring managers to have that aha moment of like, oh my God, I really sold this candidate. They realize that this is a good process to use.
Yeah, the one.
Oh, here's a question in from John. Sorry, I interrupted you, Derek. Go.
I was just going to say the one thing I've heard from a number of candidates, even the ones that didn't get the job, said that how much they enjoyed the actual process. They're like, the communication level was immense.
Yeah.
Professionalism was at an all-time high, and they just felt comfortable at the end of the interview. They're like, man, I really want to work here. It's like they're not even thinking about money anymore. They're just or anything. They're just like, this is this. How do I get this job? When can I start? And that's a culture.
That's cool.
And that's so cool.
And did they then take that and put that on the likes of Glassdoor, even if they haven't got the job?
That's what I was just checking.
We've definitely had people say that they've had a good experience in the recruitment process. Glassdoor is and managers panic about this too, like, oh, Glassdoor. I'm like, relax. It's like Yelp. If your meal is awesome, you're going to write about it. If your meal sucks, you're going to write about it. If your meal was just okay, probably not going to write about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. Great question here from John. So particularly as Erin's in the house and was talking about this last week, do you use anything like, I can't remember, predictive index or DISC or other trichology with the hiring managers and or candidates in your interview process?
No.
I'm waiting for my results from my predictive index.
Yeah, no, we had toyed with that years back about potentially doing some of that, and we used to do the Wonderlic with candidates, and we finally scrapped that, which is great. But yeah, we haven't done much on that, the kind of real formal evaluation side now.
It didn't help.
I've done that in the past with other companies, and I think it's a dystopian process. I just don't think, I don't agree with it. Besides, the people that we are hiring that come to this company are very, very, very smart people. These are people with master's degrees, PhDs in statistical analysis. These are not stupid people. And when you get to these certain things, they have a certain quirkiness to them, and that's okay. But when you go through these things, these predictive tests and so on and so forth, smart people can figure out how to trick them very quickly. I mean, I've gone through a number of those tests and through interviews over the years, and I've gamed it. Either to a point where I know I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be part of that company. So I knew I was blowing it, and I did it for a reason. Other times I really wanted to be. And, I knew how to, I'm like, okay, you're asking me the same question 3 different ways. So I'm going to give you the same answer three separate times. Yeah. And they're confused. I've had people literally come to me. They're like, we're not really sure what to think.
Right. Okay. I think you're going to get a challenge. I think you're going to get an email from Erin with the predictive index.
Oh no, I know. I see. She's but you're not a brat. You're not a brat at all. I love you.
You guys are having an argument, John.
I think those types of things are like a PI or a DISC. It's very environmentally specific. If your culture is one that can support people kind of going through that, great. Our crap moves way too fast here that I trying to capture. I mean, we probably have a very Adderall heavy culture because it's just everything here is like
watch heavy culture.
Adderall heavy culture.
That might be an American.
Everything here is everything moves so fast. It's squirrel. Things. The attention span is not deep, and so we have to sometimes kind of hold on to the reins to keep people's attention focused.
Right. Wow. Okay, Mike Townsend. I think what Derek just said depends on what you're recruiting for. I think everyone should look at tests and assessment in a macro view. That's fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there are times when PR are suitable, other times not. So I guess it's just working out which is right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
for your company and not being afraid to say it's not right.
I can see some of these Myers-Briggs tests working for salespeople, possibly.
Right.
Because you need someone that's going to be extremely driven, outgoing, boisterous. Goes for the throat, goes for the sale, goes for the close, so on and so forth. That's not what we do here. I mean, we're analyzing data, and then we're making it look really pretty, and then we're dumbing it down for somebody who doesn't understand some of this stuff. And seriously, we do. Right. We make it pretty, and we make it interesting, and we explain to them how they can make their data make them be better.
I'm laughing because that's how you have to deliver data to me because it doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
Data for dummies is perfect for me.
Like data for dummies. I like that. Yeah. It's amazing what you can do with data, though. It's incredible. The things that you can turn around. I mean, just from an advertising perspective, for example, your group, you're getting the most hits between the hours of 11 and 1 because that's when people are at lunch and they're online, they're on their Facebook, they're on their LinkedIn, they're so on and so forth, or they're watching the YouTube videos and blah, blah, blah. That's when you can hit them. That's when you get that, in that predictive area. Those 2 hours are your number one times where people are clicking on your ad to look at something that they want to buy.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Stroud. Nice of you to join us in the final minute.
Oh no, Stroud!
He made it in. It's Jim. Bastard. I know. I'm hot to trot here. I see when people pop in.
I have a question, guys.
Yeah.
So for these tough to fill technical roles, what percentage of your time do you use just really sourcing and finding them versus sort of hoping they come in through the ATS? Just a ballpark.
I mean, I think I probably 60-40. Some of the more in-depth technical stuff that I have to find that's really specific to our industry, when I have to find a product manager who's got programmatic advertising experience, they are not going to be beating down the door of my ATS. That said, I don't have to source for QA because I throw a QA rec out there and I've got 200 resumes in a week, and I can kind of sift through that. So I think, as with any other sourcing, it's position specific of how in demand is that, how much of that in your area. A programmatic product manager here in the DC area, there's 3 companies that'll have that. In New York, there are 150. In San Francisco, there are 200 companies that'll have. So I do have to do more sourcing depending on the role.
Yep. And is that you just learned that stuff, or do you go to places to learn that there's certain skill sets that you can't find, or have you just learned it just from experience?
I think it's just the repetition of doing nothing but tech recruiting for the last 14 out of 16 years.
Yeah. Clearly you like it a little bit.
Yeah. I'd say right now it's about, for me, it's about 60-40. I think about 60% ATS just because of OFCCP, and I have to go through the resumes. I have to by law at this point. I mean, it's part of our contract. And 40% is going out and finding the very specific types of people like that we want. Like right now, I'm doing a lot more on data analytics and video, which is it's a very small community, so it's something you have to kind of go out and get yourself immersed into that. So I'd say this about.
It's so new, isn't it?
It is.
All of the video advertising and stuff. It's exciting, though. It's the way the world's going. Anyone getting in early now will be highly sought after in a few years. You better keep hold of them all.
Well, and even us, measuring
their desks.
Even now with us measuring TV, right? Like, name me the other companies that measure TV.
Yeah,
there's one.
There's one.
So we have to find people who really have that understanding. And I think some managers we have to sit down with them and say, okay, do you need them to come from a competitor, or again, aptitude versus previous experience? Hey, pup.
He doesn't want to come in, Audra. Trying to get the dog in. Blab dog. He's not usually here. It's the first time he's popped in, actually. Sorry, don't mind us. Complete distraction.
I love him.
Why aren't the other companies doing that then? Hey,
Nielsen.
Why is it just you guys doing TV?
Well, Nielsen's been doing it for 50 years, but we're just going to do it.
Oh, right,
we're just going to be doing it better.
Yeah, the Nielsen.
Oh, sorry. I missed the important bit.
It's okay.
Doing it better. The dog's distracting me.
It's okay.
I'm loving the little love chat going on down the side here about Erin's going to have everyone doing her predictive index. I'm a bit worried what she means like mine is very much like me. That kind of is worrying.
I got to do mine today.
I know. Honestly, it took me a minute. It says 10 minutes.
Cool.
It took me no time at all. Oh, got rid of the dog. That's fair. We're running out of time. We have 5 minutes. Are there any final questions? Oh my God, my dog's molting. Sorry, ignore that.
While we're waiting, guys, tell us where people could reach out to you. Is Twitter best, or LinkedIn, or what?
Anything.
Yeah.
I'm very social. I'm willing to always give 10 or 15 minutes of time to chat with somebody if they have a question or if they need or want some advice. I did that yesterday with somebody that's relatively new in our industry. I like sharing. I think it's I think it's important that we, as maybe Pete and I being the elders, Katrina, just you, Audra, as we've been around for a long time. I think it's good that we share. We share our insights. We share our thought processes. I'm always willing to try something new. I just told Erin, I'll take your PI test. I mean, what the hell? I don't care. I have nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm strikingly expressive. Uh-huh.
You? What? Sucker!
Lunch, Australian. God, or my sister would say Australian. Bless her. Bitch, apparently. What else did I got? Anyway, whatever. Moving on. Sorry, that was, wasn't it? Anyway.
Yep.
What about you, Pete? Are we just suspect places? Just talk to
at Facebook Ragloff on Twitter. My personal site's recruitingin3d.com. If you're a recruiter, don't ask me for my contact info. You should be able to find it.
And if you can't,
consider a career change. If you can't, we probably shouldn't be
some training.
Or some training. I know a great lady who travels the world training.
I seriously, people can't find contact details. I mean, pre the internet, we old school people called up reception and asked for it. Anyway, sorry. So I just seriously, let's pay for all these tools that do emails. Anyway, moving on. So Audrey doesn't know this yet.
Oh, no.
Because we have a gap next week, and actually, potentially 90% chance that Rebecca Clark from New Zealand will be joining us at 2 a.m.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
I'm going to, are you for real? What? Should we move the show back an hour? No, I'll be fine. Oh my God, 2 a.m. There's no way I could do that. So, yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Calling people. Is that a new app on my phone? That is
Proud.
I can't believe he's lost his Boolean brother, though. Jim without Balish. That's going to be weird. Next conference I'm at. Anyway, so on that note, thank you both.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank
Have
you.
a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, best way to end my Friday. Bye, guys.
Oh, and everyone watch, watch Pete at 1 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
on recruiting.
What?
Live, right?
Big day for me.
Yeah.
It's my coming out party.
Not recruiting daily.
Woo!
So not Derek's shirt, recruiting live.
Yep.
Recruiting Daily
Yeah,
Live.
I was on the other week as well. It's good fun. It's really good fun.
It's
Yeah.
Katrina Squared for Pete today.
Yeah.
Isn't he lucky? Isn't he lucky? Right, on that note, bye guys.
Bye.
See you
All right,
later.
thank you.
Bye.